infected by bacteria, antimicrobial drug resistance, pathogenicity, morbidity, and mortality. Pause each illustration for detailed study of the illustrations and data contained in this review of the literature. Scanning electron micrograph of methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus brown, surrounded by cellular debris. Antibiotic resistance tests. The bacteria Escherichia coli in the culture on the left are sensitive to the antibiotics contained in the white paper discs. The bacteria on the right are resistant to most of the antibiotics. Antimicrobials are medicines used to prevent and treat infections caused by microorganisms in humans, animals, and plants. Antibiotics, also known as antibacterials, prevent or treat infections caused by bacteria. An antimicrobial drug works against only one type of organism. Antimicrobial resistance, when the microorganisms change or mutate over time and get to a point where they no longer respond to medicines previously used to treat them. A Centers for Disease Control infographic on how antibiotic resistance, a major type of antimicrobial resistance, happens and spreads, how antibiotic resistance happens, and examples of how antibiotic resistance spreads. Simply using antibiotics causes resistance. These drugs should only be used to treat infections. How antibiotic resistance spreads. Bacterial resistance towards antibiotics can be natural or acquired by vertical or horizontal transmission. A represents antibiotic. Antibiotic-resistant genetic material is then transferred from the antibiotic-resistant bacteria to the non-resistant bacteria that become resistant to antibiotics. Selective pressure causes drug resistance. Diagram showing the difference between non-resistant bacteria and drug-resistant bacteria. Non-resistant bacteria multiply, and upon drug treatment, the bacteria die. Drug-resistant bacteria multiply as well, but upon drug treatment, the bacteria continue to spread. Diagram showing that when bacteria multiply, some will mutate. Some of those mutations can make the bacteria resistant to drug treatment. In the presence of the drugs, only the resistant bacteria survive, and then multiply and thrive. Diagram showing how gene transfer facilitates the spread of drug resistance. Bacteria multiply by the billions. Bacteria that have drug-resistant DNA may transfer a copy of these genes to other bacteria. Non-resistant bacteria receive the new DNA and become resistant to drugs. In the presence of drugs, only drug-resistant bacteria survive. The drug-resistant bacteria multiply and thrive. Mechanisms of antibiotic resistance in ESKAPE. Enterococcus faecium, Staphylococcus aureus, Klebsiella pneumoniae, Enterobacter baumannii, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, and Enterobacter species, antimicrobial drug-resistant bacterial pathogens. How antibiotic resistance moves directly germ to germ. Any antibiotic use can lead to antibiotic resistance. Antibiotics kill germs like bacteria and fungi, but the resistant survivors remain. Resistance traits can be inherited generation to generation. They can also pass directly from germ to germ by way of mobile genetic elements. How bacteria and fungi fight back against antibiotics. Antibiotics fight germs, bacteria and fungi, but germs fight back and find new ways to survive. Their defense strategies are called resistance mechanisms. Only germs, not people, become resistant to antibiotics. Mode of action and resistance mechanisms of antibiotics. Beta-lactamase enzymes produced by bacteria break open the beta-lactam ring, inactivating the beta-lactam antibiotic. The natural causes of antimicrobial drug resistance: selective pressure, genetic mutation, gene transfer. Societal pressures and inappropriate use of antimicrobials creating a selective pressure resulting in resistant microorganisms and the accelerated increase of drug resistance. Inadequate diagnosis resulting in the precautionary prescription of broad-spectrum antimicrobials in lieu of more careful and accurate diagnosis and prescription of more appropriate specific antibiotic drugs. Extensive hospital use, causative of the selection for antimicrobial resistant microorganisms given the close patient contact, resulting in a fertile setting for the spread of resistant microorganisms. Agricultural use of feed having antibiotic drug additives whose ubiquity and repeated use may result in antimicrobial drug resistance in consumers. 4,900,000 deaths per year globally are attributed to antimicrobial drug resistance. New presentations coming soon. Like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching. Thank you to current and new subscribers.